Hello, 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 and welcome to today's live. We are There is no crying in crochet, the podcast where we take on your crochet frustrations and help you get over them. And everything's all messed up on the camera. Oh well. Eh, it's a Friday, right?
Right.
So today, da 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 da. We're just gonna quick go over some business. Click like and subscribe on YouTube for notifications. I am at Bizzy Crochet and Debbie is at Madam Stitch Crochet. Make sure you follow both of us for more videos and tutorials. If you are streaming on Facebook, please give StreamYard permission to see your name so we can see your name in the chat. We like chatting with you and we like to know who we're talking to.
We do.
So, Debbie, tell me what's up this week.
Well, as I shared last week, we went on our annual wine trip to the Finger Lakes. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. So every year, because it's September when we go, you never know what the weather's going to be like because it's the East Coast. Um, this year, the weather was in the low 70s, sunny. The lakes were gorgeous. Um, it was just a fabulous weekend, very relaxing. Um, Lots of wine tasting, but and lots of playing of cards and catching up with
Mhm.
friends. Um, and I got to crochet. I put the hubs in charge of the steering wheel,
How
and
nice.
I know, and for the 4-hour drive there and the 4-hour drive back, I
Wow.
crocheted, babe. I crocheted.
That's awesome.
Hashtag car crochet. That was me this weekend,
Heck yes.
and
I did some
I
car
had
crochet
a
too this
great
week.
time.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
good.
Did you taste a lot of wines?
We did. We basically hit our favorites,
Mhm.
which is where we spend most of our time. We used to try to hit like 10, 20 in a weekend, but we've now narrowed it down. I know that's a lot of wine tasting, babe.
It's a lot of running
But
around.
that's a lot of running around. Hi, Connie. Um, but we've been doing this so many years, we've narrowed it down to our few favorites.
Sure.
Um, and so we just sit and for an hour we converse with the people who are serving us. We
Mhm.
get to taste beautiful wine. Um, we leisurely drive to the next place.
So it's kind of a
And it
richer
and
experience.
it's just fabulous because it's
Mhm.
beautiful scenery, country roads, um, and then we eat at fabulous restaurants, barbecue on Friday night. It's just great.
Sounds like an amazing weekend.
And then
Um,
it was back to work, Biz. It was
I
just
know.
lots of crocheting and watching computer work. So
I
what were
know.
you up to this week?
This week, I actually did a lot of running around because we've got Stephanie's husky that I watch while she's at work. And so this week she asked us to take the husky to work for her to show the kids. So Tony and I took the husky down there and I got to do some car crocheting then, and that was really nice. And the kids had a fabulous time. And the husky, she turns 1 this Saturday. So she's still a baby, but she did really, really well. And she let the kids touch her and love on her.
Oh,
Stephanie was able to get her to howl. So the kids for the rest of the day apparently were howling like the big bad wolf.
yeah.
I mean, they just had an amazing time. And then I did a little bit more car crocheting when I had Frank and I went to go pick up my husband. I mean, like it just, my week was pretty chill. I've worked really hard this week on getting a pattern out, which I'll talk about later because it goes
Mhm.
along with today's theme. But that's really all I've been doing is just sitting at a computer and making videos.
Yep, I know what you mean.
Alrighty. So we've been having an Instagram challenge because we are having a crochet fall fashion month for the month of September. And we thought that a fun way for everybody to get involved would be for you to follow the prompts that we've been putting up and sharing your favorite fall fashions. This week happens to be about handbags and totes that are crocheted. And I apologize if I sound like I'm sucking on something because I have a Halls. I also got a little bit of a bug from my daughter because she works at a daycare, which is a germ factory. So I apologize for that. But um, so we are working with handbags. And so each week if you participate, we have a hashtag. It's what is it? It's Crochet Fall Fashion Challenge 2023 or 23.
Just very good.
It's a long one.
I know.
So if you're
So long.
participating using that, we choose a winner each week. And I wanted to share with you this week's winner. Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Ba-ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh,
It is
sweet.
Ursing Crow 44. Believe that it is someone that Debbie knows. Tell us a little bit about Ursing.
It is. Erin is a friend of mine. She lives here in the Lehigh Valley. We know each other from church. We know each other from singing in organizations together. She crochets. She used to work with my husband a long time ago. It's just crazy how connected we are. But
Mhm.
she shared some of her crochet wisdom this week, so she is our winner.
Awesome. So, Erin, we are going to be reaching out to you on a DM on Instagram so that you can choose who you'd like to have a free pattern from. And oh, Connie forgot to add hers. Okay, so we have one more week, and we will culminate the challenge next Friday. That will be the last drawing that we hold. We haven't had a lot of people participating, so it hasn't been hard to give out pattern. Just because there's usually like one or two a week. So,
Uh,
um, you know, it'll get better. People whatever. Anyway,
we're just gonna promote it like crazy this week, right, Biz?
there you go. And I'm gonna be better about sharing it because I fell off the wagon last week and boy oh boy did I fall hard. All right. So this week's topic, we are going to be talking about crocheted handbags, totes, and like is that right? Just handbags and purses.
Clutches, purses,
Clutches.
that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And what like what are the different kinds? So I'm gonna actually just jump right into that because I have another oh whoops, wrong slide. Hang on, gotta remove that. I forget that it doesn't just pop back to slide one. All right, so
Nope, it catches you right where you left off.
do over. Okay,
There we go.
we are going to be talking about trends. First of all, trends in crochet bags and totes. And the first thing that I came across when I was looking up different trends that are happening right now are raffia bags. Are you
Mhm.
familiar with raffia bags, Debbie?
Oh my gosh, raffia. Yes, it's a type of yarn. Gosh, it feels almost like straw, right?
Hmm.
It sort of feels like a f- a plant. I
Well, the
think it
first time I
actually
ever
is.
ran
But
into raffia is when I learned how to make wreaths.
oh
It
yeah,
never occurred to me to make something like this out of it.
well, I would think that it would make a very sturdy bag. But
Hmm.
I will say I have tried to crochet with it, and it's really hard on the non-working hand because you're pulling that rather rough piece of it's a flat tape like
Yeah.
yarn. It's not wound. And so that I found was a little difficult to work with. But if you can power through, I mean, these are
Yeah.
some beautiful examples. I love the clutch
I do too.
from Team. I love the clutch. It's just, I think it's a sturdy enough yarn that you don't have to do any reinforcement for it to
No,
hold
and
its
it's a
shape.
natural. Yeah, it's a natural item. So it's not
Mhm.
man-made and it will weather like anything. It's really, really sturdy when you do use it.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, it's really unfriendly to the hand. And I kind of liken it to trying to use rope or jute. Have you ever
Yeah.
tried to crochet with those? Those are really rough.
Yeah. I tend not to last very long with those particular fibers.
Yeah, neither do I. Neither do I. But you're right. The variety that there is that you can do with something like raffia, it's such a sturdy item. The only thing I don't know, like I haven't actually crocheted with it. I've only worked with it in making wreaths and things like that. But how do you tie it together? How do you connect it together as far as creating, like continuing on with your work once you've hit the end of the skein?
Gosh, I would think instead of knotting it, you would have to just pick up the new loop and then
Mm,
weave the ends in a way that it doesn't add that extra bulk, I would
right.
think. Like I said, I'm not an expert at it, but it seems that that would be it doesn't seem as secure, but I think if you weave it in correctly, it would stay. Like if you do
Yeah.
3 or 4 different directions with
Yeah,
the
that sounds
ends.
smart.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. And let's see. The next one that I looked up and seemed to be really popular were granny square totes.
Mhm.
And that really is using
Yay.
anything using a granny square.
That makes me so happy. Now, here's a fun fact, probably not a great thing to admit. Here I am, the granny square queen. Have I made a granny square bag? The answer is no.
Oh no.
So I know. So I need to get on that. There's another to-do list item, right? But,
Yeah.
these particularly this one, in the lower left-hand corner, that one is a super popular shape to do, and the
Yes,
lower right-hand corner, those are really super popular shapes,
they are. And
for
crafting
granny
my cat,
squares.
she does almost all granny square style bags. And she's actually started doing some tutorials lately on how to make envelopes out of granny squares and
Mm,
all different
right?
sizes where you can all the way to the point where you could put like um a, what is it called, an iPad and a computer. I mean,
Oh,
like
a
if you make the
tablet
granny square
envelope,
big
yeah.
enough, yeah, you can use it for everything. Connie was saying that her favorite besides granny squares bags and totes, working on a granny square tote
Oh,
right
very
now.
nice. Very nice.
I think I have made a granny square tote. This was actually some granny squares that I had made for a blanket that I ended up. I'm gonna take this off real quick. That I just threw together as a bag because I wasn't planning on making them into a blanket anymore, and it worked out pretty good. I just used some handles on there. It's a chunky little shopping bag.
So so you did 5 granny squares and 1 is the
Yep,
bottom.
yep. There's one on
Perfect.
each side, one on the bottom. And then I just ran a single crochet row around the top and then attached and made some chunky handles.
Perfect. Yep,
There's no
that
pattern
needs to
for it
be
because I
on
just
my
winged it.
design to-do list.
Yeah, you need to put one of these out.
There's a lot I need to do, Biz.
Well, this center one, she just made a one great big granny
Uh-huh.
square and then gathered it up and then put
She
it looks like she
gathered
used
opposite
leather.
sides. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I like that.
Thanks,
Very nice.
Carolina. She said the bag is really nice. But like, yeah, I think out of all of them, my favorite of the granny square bags on this page, and I have made a granny square, a couple of them, and but I put the only thing I didn't like is I put really chunky handles on them, not crocheted ones, but like actual handles, and it made them a little bit hard to use. But I
Mhm.
lined them and everything, and it's been so many years since I did that because I didn't have a sewing machine, so I hand stitched the lining in place. Ugh, never
Oh,
again.
wow.
Yeah, that was a lot of work.
The rectangular bags, I think, one thing that I need to do when I do design a bag is figure out how to support the bottom. So I think one of the hardest things about bags that are
Mhm,
crocheted is that they don't have a sturdy structure, especially a bottom. So
mhm.
you can stuff things in them, but you can't necessarily set them up. And I would love to get a bag. I've seen people use the plastic canvas that you do the big cross stitch things on.
Yeah.
You can cut that to size, and that you can wash that because it never goes bad. You just have to
Right.
make sure that when you cut around the edges that you get um, those pointy edges covered somehow, probably with bias tape or something.
You know what you
But
could
I
do is make 2 pieces and slide it in between.
Yeah, Connie says a fabric covered cardboard, and that's actually what Vera Bradley does. So you can
Mm.
they actually have styles. I have a couple of styles like the upper right hand corner in Vera Bradley bags that I use for my carrying my crochet, my smaller projects.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
there's actually a fabric covered card piece of cardboard in the bottom that you can take out when you want to put it into the wash. So that's a great idea, Connie. Thank you.
Wow, yeah, that is a good idea. All right, moving right along. The next up and coming that is really popular right now are the fringe boho style bags, and crossbody bags are super
Mhm.
popular.
Exactly. Yep.
So I grabbed a couple from some places that we know of, like Moogly has got a crossbody bag. Red the Green Fox Farms, this
Mhm.
top right hand one, that one is from her. And then I grabbed a couple of them from around that I just saw. But like Make and Do Crew is the bottom right one where it's that fringe. That looks like
Yeah.
it could also be like a raffia style.
Mhm.
And then yeah, there's just such a variety of different ways that you could make those fringy kinds of bags. A lot of people like to use them for like festivals. I know that my daughter in particular, every time I make a bag, she's like, make the strap long because I want to wear it. Because she goes hanging out with her friends. And when they go walking, the last thing she wants to have to do, she's got really round shoulders like I do. So
Yeah.
everything slides off the side. She just wants to put a strap over.
Yeah, my regular handbag is a crossbody. It's a smaller
Okay.
rectangular bag, and I love it because I know it's not gonna fall off when I go to use it, and it sits right at your hip where you can
Yeah.
easily get your hand into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love all of these styles. They're just the one on the lower left looks really simple, like you could do it
Yeah.
in just a big rectangle with the curved end,
Oh, for
and
sure.
do
Yeah. And then just sew the
right?
ends.
Yeah, back and forth in rows, but it's sort of in
Yeah.
the round. That one looks fun. Yeah, I've seen all of these. You know, one thing that we haven't got on our list that I think is an up and coming trend are crocheted backpacks. Have you seen
Yes.
people slinging them over their backs and they'll have
Yes.
straps on either side? Yeah.
And the drawstring bags are really popular as far as that's
Mhm.
concerned, that closure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have actually seen those. I don't know why I didn't put those on here, but, um, the last one that I pulled up, though, was covered zippered pouches. Those have been popular
Mhm.
for more than a year now. I've been
Yeah.
watching those.
Yeah, and I think the
And a
trick
lot of
there is learning how to put the zipper in. I've
so
seen several different ways of doing a zipper.
one of the hacks that I've run into, though, is buying like at the dollar store or something like that, the fabric bags that are already zippered, and
Mhm.
then just fabric gluing them in and making a cover, fabric gluing it, and you don't even have to worry about putting in a zipper.
And then it acts like a lining already.
Right,
So you don't even
exactly. And you
yeah.
don't have to
Yeah,
line it.
that's a perfect. Yeah, one of the interesting hacks that I've seen as far as putting a zipper in, I'm a seamstress, and so there's a certain way that you sew all of the sides of the zipper to get it to lay flat in your garment or whatever you're making.
Mhm.
Um, so hand stitching that zipper in is the first thing that you think of, and then hand sewing the lining over the top of that to hide the edges. But I saw online a woman who actually started the first round of crochet in the zipper itself. And then when she
Really?
got to the place where, let's say you wanted 6 inches in your zipper, she got to the 6 inch mark. She chained across
Uh-huh.
and then started the other one so that when she was then working the next round, she
Uh-huh.
was just the zipper was
Going over the
already
top of it.
applied, right?
Wow,
And
that's
then
cool.
at the very end, you would probably have to tack down where it was chained across to make sure that it didn't leave a
Oh,
gap. But
sure.
um, Yeah, this
So
the hard
Carolina
thing.
says the
Yeah.
zipper is the hardest thing for her,
Yeah. Yep.
and, Connie says, "Absolutely, yes, start at the zipper."
Don't you love that? I mean, I love the Dollar Tree, hack where you just buy the actual
Yeah.
cloth bag, um, but I also love that I can't remember where I saw it, I think I bookmarked it, but where you actually chain across
Mhm.
the zipper
That is a
itself
great
at both
idea.
ends, and then you just work in the round. It's fabulous.
That's great. I like that idea. I wouldn't have even occurred to me, I don't think. So, I love it when other people think up the hard stuff, for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
But, okay, so let's see. We just did the latest crochet trends in bags and totes. So, let's talk about some insider tips for working on bags. Like, what would you say are your favorite handles?
I just always go to a crocheted handle just because it's simpler for me. Um, Sometimes it's hard for me to figure out what to buy. I would love to use a purchased handle. I really would. And when I go to in-person festivals like the sheep and wool festivals, oftentimes they'll have a leather worker there who sells handles. But I honestly haven't quite gotten over that hump of what would work in what I'm trying to design. So I always just kind of do my sorry, I'm out of view here, but I always do my crocheted handle. And I use that tip that you were talking about in a previous episode where you reinforce so that the handle doesn't
Yeah,
stretch. But I love these wide ones because when you put stuff in your bag, it doesn't dig into your shoulder
yeah.
like the skinny ones do. And this one, not necessarily a fall bag, but you could certainly convert it to a fall bag. It just happens to be summer for me.
Yeah,
But
it's
this
cute, but
one, I'll show
that
this
color is
part
really
first.
falsy.
It's called the Sunny Day Market Bag. So it was actually designed to be a summer bag. But I did a row of sunburst. They're not
Uh-huh.
actually granny squares, but they're sunburst squares. And then I just converted that into small squares that I could use for the handle, and that's what that one is.
That one's got
So
such a boho flair to it. I love that one.
it does. It's fun. My daughter and I took it out to the farmers market earlier this summer, and I made her take a video. It's on my Instagram feed.
Yay.
Yay! So, what do you like to do, Biz?
Well, you had mentioned one of my things that I do with mine is I have a tendency to top stitch a slip stitch along the handle itself to strengthen it to keep it because it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't stretch. And
Yeah.
the thing I absolutely hate about a lot of the I have got a pile of market bags that I made, like you get from Lion Brand, the pattern, whatever.
Mhm.
And it's this bag that's this long, and then it's got a little bitty, teeny tiny handle like this. Well, what
Oh, what
happens,
are you supposed? How do I do
it
that?
doesn't fit over an arm. I guess you're supposed to carry it in your hand. Okay, so I'm 5'1". This bag is easily, you know, 12 inches long. And then when I put anything in it, it's literally dragging on the ground. So I just have to grab it through the mesh part. So I stopped using those bags. So I've got a pile of those. Like if anybody wants them, literally you can have them. I don't
Yeah,
use them.
just send us your address.
But the one thing that I have started doing when I'm designing my own bags now is I look for what is not going to stretch. What
Mhm.
will not. I mean, like this one is going to stretch a bit because it's just, it's
Right.
all just yarn. There's not a lot of like stability and there's a couple of bags though that I have that are going to be coming out in the next couple months that are market bags that I started using macrame cord to make the handles, and it's also part of the bag. So it strengthens, I mean, like the stuff doesn't move. It doesn't stretch. There's no stretch to it at all. So the bag that you created, literally the only part that stretches is anything that you put in that is made out of yarn. And so I'm having fun thinking of different ways of using them. Connie says, send them to me. Um, of using that macrame cord, but I also my other favorite way to take care of that stretch is to just put in those like stabilizing slip
Mhm.
stitches. Um, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna actually talk about the bag that I have coming. It's
Go
out the
right
door.
ahead. I think
I
this is
just let
a
it
perfect
go
opportunity.
today, and the only reason I'm bringing it up is because it actually is incorporating what I'm talking about. I'm just going to show you the small. So what I did
Oh,
is I used that slip stitch around the whole body of the bag, so it hardly moves.
that's awesome.
So when and it comes in three different sizes. This is the medium, and then this is the large. So this one's
I
like a
love it.
shopping size, and then this one I think is more just like hanging out. And then this one is small enough to just fit on your wrist and walk about. So the medium one is free on my blog, and it's a free video tutorial on YouTube. I just put it up today, so hopefully you love it. But the thing that I did with this one when I was designing it, I was like, how can I keep this thing from just distorting and getting so huge it's not even usable? So that's when I thought I'm gonna put that top stitch in there. And sure enough, as I'm working on it, these little bags just they don't move. They have no they don't go anywhere. And so I'm excited to actually get these out and into the world and use them.
Yeah. So, I ask you a question. So are those top stitches something that you add when the bag is finished or do you do it as you go along?
I do it as I go along because I've done it where I've added stuff like that later on and I've hated my life. So when I make this row here, I stop
Mhm.
and I put my stitch on a stitch marker or a loop holder, and then I just quick put this top stitch in there. And then I get up to this point and I just do it as I go. Some
Mhm.
people they don't want that fiddliness, that back and forth, and they want to wait. Uh, more power to you if you do that. But I've done it where you've got to put your because you're holding the yarn to the
Right, there's 2
inside and
yep,
having to.
yep,
Whew, it's awful.
yeah.
Top stitching is not one of my favorite things to do anyway, so that's why I just did it as I went, so, like, I had hardly any fabric to hold on to as I was going.
Do you
But
do that top stitching with a needle or with a hook?
it's slip stitched in place, and I do it
Got
with
it.
a hook. So, yep, I just pull
Perfect.
the loop to the front and then slip stitch all the way around, and the yarn is held to the inside or the back of the work. Yep, and this is the one that's
Good
in the
tips.
tutorial. So there's a couple of different features to this. You work on a swirly bottom. Where is the camera?
You got
There's a
it.
yeah, you gotta learn how to do the swirly bottom. That is its own video because it's something you can use for more than just this bag. So I thought I would just do something separate. And then there's a video for the sides all the way up to the top where you learn how to do a modified version of a crab stitch, a reverse single crochet. And it's just kind of like a quick hack. And then the last one is the cording, which other people have done the video for this kind of cording before. I just did another one, and then it includes the tutorial for the flower as well. So,
Aw.
but yeah, I like, I don't love top stitching, but I like top stitching for its usefulness in
Mhm.
holding things in place.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where you know how you always have this stitch that you have a love-hate relationship with, and you're like, "I hate doing it, but I know I need it, so I do it."
But this is it. Exactly.
Yes. Yep. So, anyway, I just talked a lot about that, but there's also in insider tips, not just the handles, but what is your favorite style of bag to make? I mean, is it just the tote style or have you worked out, various different styles that you like?
We haven't even talked about it, and I don't know how popular it is, but for project bags, when I'm taking my crochet along with me, I love Japanese knot bags,
Okay. Yes.
right? So the bottom of the bag can be anything you want, but the handles, one is longer than the other one, and you loop the long one through the short one, and it's great for just hanging on on your arm. And the yarn, it's a fabulous project bag.
Oh, I
So
never
I've
even
made,
thought of that.
yeah, my next, with the Japanese knot bag, I'm planning on doing some granny square stuff with that, and granny stitch, which I think would make it really cute. But I have a couple, I have one on my blog called the Ami project bag that's just, you know, really simple half double crochet.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So,
I love that one.
I should have gotten the links from you before, but if you have the link, pop it in there so that everybody can go and take a look at it. But all right, we already talked about how to reinforce bags with like a top stitch, but are there other ways that we can reinforce bags? We were talking also about that bottom where you could do
Mhm.
cardboard. Have you ever
Just
used the the oh my god, plastic canvas and done like strips down the side of anything to hold it in place? Or
I haven't, because mostly I do the kind where you start the flat circle at the bottom and then do it in the
okay.
round. So, I haven't, but that's also a really good way to keep a bag standing up.
Mhm,
So you reinforce those sides,
mhm,
reinforce the bottom, those
mm.
narrow sides, and the bottom, and usually it will stand up.
Yeah. I've never actually created a bag that stands up, so I couldn't say, but I have created like amigurumi type pieces. I have a little hut that I'm going to be putting out hopefully next month. But it what I used was plastic canvas between the pieces, and then I just used a
Mm,
couple of them and I sewed them to the back side of the walls of this little hut to keep it upright and support it. So, I mean,
yeah.
really, plastic canvas is one of the most obvious ones. Um, but as far as like reinforcing it, I don't know really of anything else besides, just extra crocheting
Mhm.
that would
Well, I
keep a
think
bag
I've
from
seen
stressing or
people
something.
double the sides, so it's a double thickness.
Uh-huh.
So they just crochet a double length and fold it over. So
Yeah.
that's one way to do it. But to me, that adds bulk and weight that I'm not really sure that you need.
Mhm.
I think it's a lighter option to either cover cardboard or canvas and just have inserts
Mhm.
that you can remove when you want to wash the bag.
Yeah. Those are good points. So let's talk about the eco-friendly benefits of handmade bags. But I mean, obviously it's not just bags. It's kind of everything that we've been talking about, when
Mhm.
we're talking about sustainability and sustainable fashion, it's really hand making anything for yourself because it's this is kind of two part and I've got actually two different banners. This the eco-friendly benefits of handmade bags, but also what is sustainable fashion. So let's talk a little bit about both of those, like eco-friendly benefits and sustainable fashion.
Well, I don't know what it's like in Florida as far as shopping is concerned, but um, up where I live, Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, those states have all been making a push to eliminate things that over time harm the environment.
Yeah.
The grocery store that I go to, Wegmans, which is a New Rochester, New York based grocery store, has just eliminated all plastic bags. So
Okay.
you
We've had
either,
a couple of
and
them down here too.
for that really didn't affect me at all because I've been using reusable bags for years. So that
Yeah.
really didn't affect me. But it was amazing how traumatic. It's a big change. It's a huge change. So you either
Mhm.
have to bring your bags every time,
Mhm.
or you have to buy paper bags, and I'm never quite sure whether the paper bag is a great alternative, but at least it's biodegradable, to some
Mhm.
degree. But I do go to the farmer's market pretty much every Saturday, and I take a market bag with me to put
Mhm.
my produce and stuff in. So it's just,
Mhm.
making sure that you have something that you can launder easily, that
Mhm.
holds up to the continued use.
Mhm.
And crochet tends to be that craft that creates something for you.
And it's nice and sturdy. I think I like knitting,
Mhm.
but I feel like knitting is, thinner somehow, and I like a crocheted bag because 'cause it's got more chunk to
Mhm.
it.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree with
I
you.
agree with you completely as far as, like, the eco-friendliness of a handcrafted or hand crocheted or knitted whatever bag is its reusability. It's
Mhm.
constantly you can use the natural fibers if you want to, if that matters to you, like the cotton macrame thread, that kind of stuff. It washes and wears just like regular cotton. It's just a little bit more sturdy and it will break down over time. So, you've got that.
Mhm.
You were saying something about the bags not necessarily being a better. I come from Wisconsin and up in the Northwoods, it's a logging industry. The thing about logging
Mm.
industries is that they replant so that they can cut those trees down. So, I mean, they're
So it
not.
is sustainable.
It is. A lot of people have a misconception about the logging industry. They think they just go in and but they always plant. And so there's a constant rotation of logging trees. Um, I, uh, I think what people really don't like is when they take down the really, really old trees and the
Mhm.
really, really big trees. But a lot of times when they do that, it's because they're sick.
Yeah.
And so it's a shame when they do it when it's not because, we're like, I if I'm 100 years old, I wanna stay too. But, but if it's not a healthy tree, it can make all the trees sick. So,
Right.
but
Right.
anyway, I digress. But as far as shopping bags are concerned, like I said, the reusability and being able to use the natural fibers, and I think that the joy of creating something that you're going to use over and over again is part of it as well, because you're not only helping the environment, but you're doing it for yourself. You don't have to go and buy the bag. You're making the bag and you're taking care of yourself. It's kind of like when grandma used to garden and put up all the produce.
Mhm.
You're taking care of
Yeah.
yourself.
Right. Now I have started using, there are several companies that are, um, I forget what it's called. There are some that will recycle cotton.
Mhm.
So Lion Brand, I loved their
Yes.
line of, I think it was called Reuse,
I
and it
think you're
was
right.
recycled cotton.
Mhm.
And I love the feel of it. It's super sturdy. They've
Mhm.
discontinued it for some reason. I think they've um, made it some other line. They like to do that. Here's this yarn. We're going to stop making it under that name and make it over here in some other name. But
Yeah.
I like their reusable cotton, their recycled cotton
Yeah.
product. Um, who else do I use? Oh, Paint Box Yarns has a recycled cotton yarn, and that one's really pretty. And the cool thing about it is it has a little bit of a heathered, weathered kind of look. It's
Mhm.
not just,
That's one of
um
my favorite things about recycled yarns.
yeah, yeah, it has a little bit of a vintage look to it,
Yeah.
a weathered look, and I really enjoy that. But there are, I think it comes out of Europe, and I don't know for sure, but
Mhm.
there is a standard of yarn. It's ecologically produced or something like that, friendly to the environment. It starts with an O. It's an acronym, but I think you can find some cotton yarns in the United States that are made that way. I don't
Uh-huh.
know exactly what it's called. OETH or something like that. I should
Okay,
have
I've
looked that
never
up.
heard of it before.
Yeah, it's a standard for eco-friendly cotton.
There is one by Scapies that they just came out with, and I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it, but it is made with recycled plastic bottles. And
Oh.
I am dying to use it because it has that soft heathered look, and they have like a really big variety of colors. Now I'm hoping that they're going to maintain that line because I found one that Hobie had put out, and I bought it when it was apparently in like discontinued or something like that, and it
Mm,
was called Blue Ocean. And I bought it, and then it sat on my shelf for the longest time waiting for me to find the perfect scarf to make for my niece. Well, I finally did, and then when I wanted to get more of it, it was discontinued. So that breaks my heart when that happens because
I
I fall in
know.
love with this stuff. And it happens so
Mhm.
often, especially in the recycled yarns
Yeah.
specifically. I mean,
Yeah, I
mm,
wonder if it's that the industry is so new, um, that they just haven't quite figured out how to do it yet.
mm,
So they're trying it out. I can't seem to find the acronym for the, cotton that I was talking about, but
well, if you do, let me know because I don't know what it is. I love recycled yarns. And I am not one of those people that is like super earthy, like I do my recycling, I do my bit, I try to be a good steward with what I have. But I like to feel like I'm a good steward in the way that like I use up my scraps. I am not just, a consumer to be a consumer,
mhm.
and I like my recycled yarns.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
and
just
I would
I
like
have my
to
things.
try out more. I'm actually very interested in the one that you just mentioned.
I will get you that name, and I can't believe I can't remember it. You know what? I'm just gonna quick peek on their website, and we can keep talking. Um, so
Well,
I
you
also
you
have
have a
another idea.
list of things here. Um,
Yes,
oh, go.
I was gonna say, what do you think about the idea of using some of those old bags as cushion covers?
Oh gosh, I've never tried that.
I
Look at
haven't
that,
either.
repurposed it. No, that's interesting. You were
I just was
also
wondering if
talking
that would
about,
work.
I don't know. I guess it just depends upon the size of the bag.
Mhm.
And then
Yes.
you'd either have to, find something, the cushion that fit inside it, or I don't know. I have
Um,
seen people use old sweaters and things like that
Definitely.
to,
I
yeah.
think it is called scrumptious.
Ooh,
Yes, it is. It's called scrumptious, and it's 50% recycled polyester and 50% acrylic. So I'll just pop that in there.
that's
It's
awesome.
not like you have to find a stockist on their website, but this way you can at least see what it looks like. But it's got that
Well, I
heathery look
wonder
to it.
if I
But
get
yeah, okay. I
my
sorry. I
scabies from
interrupted you.
wool. Oh no, I get my scabies from Wool Warehouse in the UK, and they carry everything. I'll bet
Mm,
they have it.
they
Oh, there
probably
you are.
do. Yeah, I actually shop a lot with Wool Warehouse.
Mhm. I do too. I like it.
They're one of my favorite places to get yarn. Okay, so another one, uh, eco-friendly benefit of making your own bags is not supporting sweatshops.
Yeah, and it's so hard to know
It
who's
is.
using them, and, that's just a giant industry secret. So
It
it's
is.
really tough to tell who's doing it. But I think one of the ways to tell is if something is incredibly inexpensive and it really
Yeah,
shouldn't be,
yeah.
that's kind of, red flag.
It's iffy for sure. And anytime I find crochet items in a store
Mm,
and
mhm.
it's like, oh, it's only like $15 for this hat, this bag, this whatever. It's like, I just can't. I can't buy
You
it.
know no, because someone isn't getting paid, they're not even getting paid materials for that.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
All right, so let's talk about sustainable fashion. Sustainable fashion for me, I've noticed places that take like blue jeans.
Mhm.
And I know that there's a lot of websites now, and I've seen a lot of commercials for places that are selling secondhand um, used clothing. It's like an online thrift store. And I think that is considered sustainable fashion because you're not throwing it away, it's not ending up in a landfill, it's being repurposed and reused by someone
Yeah.
else. And that's kind of the same way with us. And I know that I follow a couple of different things on Facebook. There's one called Weird and Wonderful Finds or something like that. And so people go to thrift stores and they will post the weirdest or most wonderful thing that they found. A lot of people lately have been finding Afghans and things like that that for $2, you know.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me. I if I make my crochet stuff stays with me now. I will donate yarn.
Uh-huh.
So if I'm cleaning out, I don't throw away yarn unless it's just completely unusable. But
Yeah.
I do donate yarn that, and you will find it at the thrift stores. They don't throw it out either. Uh, but if I'm not going to use it, someone else should get the use out of it, right?
Yeah,
So
I
that's
I
one way.
Connie actually has gotten quite a bit of my yarn.
And there you go.
Connie. So yeah.
You have also on here supporting small businesses, which is small businesses and farms. Um, I'm a firm believer. That's why I go to the farmer's market. When I find a product that I like, I stick with it and make sure that I buy it from them. Um, Obviously, I have to watch my budget, but
Mhm.
I would, for instance, I'll just use this as an example. It's not a yarn related, but there's a coffee producer here in Pennsylvania. He actually was in my high school youth group at church,
Oh,
a
fun.
year older than my daughter. He and his wife started roasting coffee beans in their backyard.
Okay.
And it was so good that they were able to open a business and they call it Backyard Beans. It's really cute.
Oh, that's
Um,
funny.
and now they have 2 stores. They get all of their beans from small farmers in Costa Rica and Ecuador. They
Wow.
support those, they know exactly where those beans came from. They tell you where they came from. And that's an example of I will support you till my dying day, even if I don't drink coffee, because you're doing such a great service in that business.
Yeah.
Buying yarn from the local alpaca
Mhm.
farm,
Mhm.
stuff like that. I just love supporting businesses, especially when I know the backstory.
Yeah. There is a company called Good Loops Yarn, and
Yep,
I love them because they have recycled yarn as well as they do all of their dyeing. It's just a small commune basically
it
in
is.
South
Yeah,
Africa, and they do it eco-friendly where it's not going to harm, their dyes do not harm, the cleaning process doesn't harm the nature or anything like that, but they also provide jobs for women in their
mhm,
area, and that's the thing that I love the most. I always tell people I'm not a feminist, but I am absolutely a woman supporter. You know, uh,
exactly.
I I go against too many things in the feminist line, but I am absolutely all for pushing women forward, helping them, create a life that they love and being able to supply for themselves.
And
That makes
support
me
their
happy.
families. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I love
absolutely.
Good Loops. It's a fabulous company. Beautiful yarns.
Mhm. Oh, it is. I love them. And then DIY fashion, you know, I I always think back to, you remember the movie Pretty in Pink?
I don't think I ever watched that. I'm sorry.
Really? Oh gosh. Okay. It's definitely a coming of age movie for the 80s, but the one thing that I absolutely took away from that was, oh my God, she just made her own dress out of like, she just figured it out and did it. And
Yeah.
because what she does is she repurposes this ugly
Mhm.
prom gown into this really pretty dress that she designs for this dance that she goes to into a more modern thing. And I absolutely was just, oh my God, I want to do that. I want to make myself a dress. That never really came about because I don't make clothes for myself. I made clothes for my kids when they were little, but now I feel like I can do my own DIY fashion. People can
Yeah.
there's sweaters and shirts and shorts and skirts and dresses and there's just absolutely everything out there and you could be a total DIY closet if you wanted.
Exactly. Yep. Take those jeans jackets, add some granny squares to it. It's all good.
Absolutely. Bump it up.
Uh,
Bump it up. All right. So, was there anything else that you feel like we should talk about regarding bags and totes and anything eco?
I don't think so. I think it's amazing, this entire month, all of the things that we've talked about. You're just seeing so much more crochet in the
Mhm.
mainstream, um, that I just love the fact that it used to be you were the nerd or the geek or the old granny who carried your crochet around, and now it's the thing to do.
Yeah. So, have you ever heard of the comedian Jeff Allen?
Probably.
He's he's I want well their kids are grown and married and all this stuff. So, we've been watching him for years and years and years. We absolutely love comedians and when we find really good ones, we try to follow them for a while. So, we've been following him since like his kids were young and now they're grown and married and gone. Well, he was doing a bit about empty nest and how his wife has to have this new project to work on and his kids used to be the project and now it turned to him.
Yeah.
He said until my father-in-law moved in and then it was him. But anyway, he was talking about them sitting side by side watching TV and he said and all of a sudden my wife will pause the TV and say something to her whatever and part of his commentary though was she doesn't actually watch TV, she's crocheting over there. I'm like,
Yes!
"Yes, she
Yes!
crochets."
Someone who
And my
gets
husband's like,
us.
"That is absolutely you. You don't watch TV either." I'm like, "No, I listen to it." So, it's hard
I
for me to
can't
watch
have
anything that
anything
has
on I have to
subtitles.
pay attention to, otherwise I have to stop crocheting, and what's the fun
Exactly,
in that?
exactly.
So
So, unless I'm looking to give my hands a rest, I don't watch anything I have to really pay attention to. But
exactly.
speaking of, what have you been watching this week?
A whole lot of wine going into the basement, but other than that, I actually had a husband-free evening last night, so I decided to try a new show on BritBox,
Okay.
called Next of Kin. Now, I thought it was going to be. Did you watch it?
Love it.
Do you? Okay,
Yes.
so the first episode, as we've talked before, the first episode can be a little
Mhm,
slow.
mhm.
And I'm still trying to wrap my head around the dynamics I'm seeing in this first episode. But I absolutely love the actors. I
Yes,
love the actors.
yes.
Um, and I
It gets
think this
better
is
as it
going to
goes.
turn into, yeah, oh, good, good, because I really want to keep watching. I know it's something that my husband wouldn't enjoy, so it'll be an off the books kind of watching it. But
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. It's really different.
Mhm. I've been watching and, all of a sudden I've gotten into these old Agatha Christie Hercule Poirot. I know I said it wrong. I just massacred it. But, the Poirot stories and so, like, Death on the Nile, they did a remake of that really recent, and it was very good. But Death on the Nile, and then there was Evil Under the Sun or something like that. I watched those 2. What I love about them is you get to see people like Maggie Smith. She's, oh gosh, she's Professor
McGonagall.
McGonagall, thank you. I knew it started with an M. So she's in Harry Potter, and you get to see her really, really young, and she's in both of them, and hilarious.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
Betty Davis, Angela Lansbury. I mean, all these
Wow.
actors and actresses that you haven't seen in 100 years, and they're all so young. And oh, they're just so good. They're so good, and they're fun to watch, and they're relatively clean, which I love.
Yeah, I love and there's a little bit of, sorry, Daisy is barking in the background,
Oh,
but either
that's
you
fun.
lose me to the door or you just listen to it. She's cute. Um, there are some adaptations of Agatha Christie where they actually make her Hercule
Hmm.
a little bit on the funny side.
Yes,
He's quirky. He's
yes.
definitely quirky.
I love the Kenneth Branagh version of him, which is the new one. He's very funny, and I like him in just about anything he's in anyway. And he's one of those ones that's a little bit more on the funny side. This guy that I don't know who he is. I probably should pay attention to that kind of stuff. But he's the one that kind of does most of them through like the 60s.
Mm.
And he's just a little bit sassy, always correcting anybody who calls him French. He's Belgian. It's funny. It's good stuff. Good TV. And so that's what I've been watching is Agatha Christie.
Well, that's a good thing to watch.
Yep.
Yeah, we're actually gonna have a rainy weekend, so I may get some, watching TV in this weekend in amongst the cleaning and the crocheting. Cleaning
Yes.
has to happen.
I
I'm
have to
glad
fold
that I don't have
laundry.
to work outside. I mean, I have a ton of outdoor work to do, and I don't have to do it because it's gonna be too ra there's a tropical storm headed up toward us,
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's
there you
gonna hit
go.
us tomorrow. Thanks, Biz.
No problem. I'm gonna bring us in a little bit closer, a little bit more
Oh,
intimate.
there you go.
There we
There
go.
you go.
We didn't need to be that far away. So yeah, we have our weather's been cooling down a little bit. Been really, really beautiful outside. When I've been in the car having to crochet and stuff like that, like I can have the windows open and I'm not dead.
Oh,
It's been so nice. I think I might actually go outside and sit on my porch and do a little bit of crocheting today.
no.
There's no mosquitoes. I don't know where they went. I think the heat killed them
Well,
all.
I think they actually love the heat, so maybe they're they're
Just
somewhere
throw
else,
away.
but
Yes.
don't worry about it. Just no mosquitoes, fabulous,
Just go enjoy it. Yes.
right?
So, yep. Connie says, "Me too." So we're all gonna be sitting outside crocheting today.
Mhm.
And all right. Well, I think that we've pretty much covered everything that we know about handbags, purses, and totes as far as crocheted versions of them. Hopefully, you found something helpful today. Hopefully, you were inspired to do something fun. And if you have any questions, always reach out to us and give us a like on YouTube so that you can follow along because we've got lots of tutorials coming. Lots of good stuff.
Lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff.
Well, okay, so what can we look forward to? I mean, we've got one more week of fall fashion, but October's coming and it's kind of a special month.
We were going to talk about blankets because
We are
I'm
going
running a
to.
crochet along. I decided to call it the Granny Stitch Sampler blanket because that's
Yay!
really kind of what, right? Because that's really kind of
Yeah.
what it is. But you stay tuned to Facebook, to Instagram. I'm starting to. I've actually this past week I've been showing off some of the squares, um, but it's oh my gosh, it's just so much fun making all of these squares.
Yeah.
Biz's square is amazing.
It's
So
fun. Good
stay
stuff.
yeah, stay tuned because that's going to
Absolutely.
get started in about a week or so. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like just right around the corner. I mean, we've got one
I
more
know.
podcast in between here and there, and we're just gonna wrap up and maybe chit chat about some stuff. But
Right into
um,
blankets, baby. Right into
it is.
blankets.
I mean, it is blanket weather. It's coming.
Yeah, and October's a great month to make blankets
Mhm.
because it's turned cool, but it gets you if you want to make blankets for Christmas time, you've got plenty of time.
Yeah. And you can
Mhm.
do it without breaking your wrists. I mean, like, that's part of the problem for me is if I've got to whip something out, like I can make a blanket in a week if I have to, right? But I can't do anything else and my hands hurt. I mean, hurt. So I like to have at least a month or 2 before I have to put it out there.
Yeah. Well, I've been putting together this sampler for the the sample for the crochet along,
Uh-huh.
and there's a whole lot of crocheting going on in my house right now, and I'm the only one doing it. So there you go.
Not an assembly
In
line.
fact, I should probably go do that now.
Alrighty. Well, we're gonna let everybody go. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you so much. And we will catch up with you. We do we have another Instagram challenge for this following week?
I do, yeah, maybe yes, maybe no. So stay
So watch
tuned.
our Instagram channels. If you see any prompts,
If you see the big orange squares, that's
then yes,
us.
yes, we do. Oh, and then just real quick, let's not forget that Ursing Crow 44, you are this week's winner. Thank you very much for participating. And we will be reaching out to you on Instagram. Other than that, you guys have a great day.
And a great weekend.
Yes, even more. Have a great weekend.
Happy fall. Happy fall.
Woo! Bye.